What's good, guys? Welcome back to another crime episode. So today we are going to be discussing the backpack murders which happened in Koh Tao, Thailand. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but don't beat your girl up. But today, guys, we will be discussing such a sad story. I just could not stop reading this story once I found it. I never actually heard of this story until I just decided to search on Yahoo. I ended up finding out that the victim, Hannah Withridge, sister, has ultimately died 5 years later from her. So that really sparked my interest. I wanted to know, well, what happened to Hannah? Because I never heard of her story, her and David. I never knew who these two were. But before we get into the story, I just want to let you guys know that their story has been one that sparked a lot of outrage in Thailand. They were about the 13th individuals to be killed in Thailand, and a lot of controversy has been that Thailand police have been trying to cover up a lot of deaths internationally because this is a touristy spot, so they're losing money, just like the situations in Dominican Republic, you know, trying to cover it up or trying to make light of something when it's probably a bigger issue. So I really wanted to just share their story with you guys, and maybe you guys have an opinion, or maybe you heard about their story and you can shed some more light with me. I'm always open to that, but please do not be rude in the comments. We're here to just talk about these things because, like I said, I'm always passionate about crime. So let's just always have respect when we're communicating with one another. So this story begins with Hannah Withridge, who was 23, and David Miller, who was 24, both from the British area. They were coming to Thailand with their friends, and they met here in Thailand, and it is said to believe that they had adjoining rooms, so that's how they end up meeting one another, and they just hooked up. They thought each other was really cool, both coming from great backgrounds, going to school and trying to do really great things with their lives. So they end up just one night on September 15th, 2014, hanging out with each other. But on that fateful night, these two lost their lives together. And it's such a sad situation because you just never know what can happen to you. You know, you go to the bar, you're hanging out with each other, and they decided to just go on the beach and just talk and just have a really great time. And ultimately, they didn't realize that two individuals were watching them. So it's said to believe that David and Hannah were on the beach talking, walking the beach, while two individuals were watching them and decided to abruptly attack David from behind with a hatch and brutally beating him, and also brutally beating Hannah and raping her as well. David was killed by a wooden stick. He was killed, like I said, he was hit from behind and attacked, and that's when they began to attack Hannah as well. And one of the individuals dragged David near the water of the beach, and he ultimately drowned, while they then raped Hannah. It's such a sad situation because you just imagine going on an international trip and you meet someone and you're having a really great time, and then ultimately this is how you die. Like, wow. Their bodies was later found the next day on the beach. David was still, I believe, in the shallow water, and Hannah was further distance away from him. It's said to believe that this is where things just really started to take a crazy turn, because a lot of people believe that the law enforcement over there in Thailand were just trying to find someone of the crime. So like, they were DNA testing every male on the island and just doing things that to try to hurry up and fix the issue, but more so just trying to find and pinpoint someone. So a lot of people believe the two men that they found weren't in fact the individuals, because they were brutally beaten, and they often said that they were coerced into giving a statement about killing David and Hannah. The men basically stated that they were trying to help Hannah because she was crying and that David was on top of her. So they put it as they were trying to help her, but they weren't trying to help her. They were just two men preying on this couple, and as they are Americans, they figured that they could just really get over on them. Even though they gave this crazy story, they still end up admitting to police that they in fact killed Hannah and David and raped Hannah. And they told the details of the story of how they attacked both of them with the garden hose and just started hitting them, and that's when they decided to rape Hannah. It got really crazy because Hannah's crime scene photos end up being floated around and her mom was getting like death threats. It just got really crazy in the time that they were trying to get these two men in jail for the killing. And I was looking, like, you see the photos of them with their friends right before that fateful attack, and I'll post it of course so you guys can see. And it just goes to show you, like, they were just having a really great time, and it just proves that you just never know when your time will come. And a lot of people were just saying that the two men were scapegoats because there's a lot of cold Thai mafia where people in Thailand who are wealthy, they basically wanted to just get someone for this crime because they're losing money on the touristy area, and this was affecting how they make their money. It's said to believe that there are three main families for the mafia, and they all controlled different parts of the island, and some of them, it was like strict rules where you didn't do any trouble, there wouldn't be any trouble. And the thing with the mafia is they control this island. So if you're going to bars, you're going to clubs, they have some access to everything. People are working for them. So it's said to believe that when they went to the bar owner was the one who got them killed or had something involved, but they ended up pinning it on these two other individuals from Thailand. But the thing about it is, people think that they mixed the DNA up because they were wondering, well, you went through all of these men on the island, and then out of nowhere, these two men miraculously are the killers of David and Hannah. So, and by the island being really run by the mafia and the police, they think that they just ended up pinning it on these two individuals so that the mafia wouldn't be involved. Crazy, right? I was reading this like, Lord, and I think we have problems over here in America. You know, you have to be appreciative. And there's a lot of different theories out there of why David and Hannah were killed. A lot of people think because that this area is very conservative, you know, they don't really like people in nudity, kissing and stuff like that, that someone may have had an issue with that, maybe the bar owner, or maybe it came down to money, you know, from being from a British, more area that has more money, you know, they see you. It's kind of like when Americans go to different countries as well, you know, they tell you not to be flashy, they tell you not to, you know, do different things because you just never know who's really watching you. Third theory that I think was out there is because the island was really big on meth, drugs and stuff like that. Someone just really just had a problem with them. And as I was reading many articles, a lot of the police in Thailand were saying that if you are beautiful, not to come there because you will be targeted. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's because some of these countries have more men versus the women, because I have read about a lot of cases happening in India where a lot of women are targeted because it's very overpopulated with mostly men versus the women. Now that may not be true, but that was just my theory, you know, thinking as I was reading the article about it. I think it's really sad that as her family was going through all of this, her crime scene photos were being floated around, you know, like, where's the decency? Like, someone just literally got their head bashed in and was brutally raped, and another person was also killed as well. You know, like, geez Louise. But the two individuals, I keep saying two individuals because I don't know how to pronounce their name, and that's just what it is. You'll see photos floating on here throughout this video of them. But the two individuals were later found guilty and sentenced to death for the killing of David and Hannah. Now, a lot of people think that they just wanted to do that, like I said previously, because they were scapegoated into being the ones to take the fall for this crime. I don't know, like, as I'm reading, guys, like, because of course their story is just very out there, that, you know, they were going to the bar and then they end up, you know, people think that they were drunk and that they were acting a certain way. But regardless of if a person is acting a certain way, and if that's your culture, I don't believe that you should just kill people because you don't believe they are coming. Now, it may be ignorant if they don't really know, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you go to somewhere, or you go somewhere and you know that you have to dress a certain way, now that may be ignorant of that, those individuals, of not researching properly. But I don't think no one deserves to be brutally killed like that, because if that's the case, because they were kissing or nudity, or if they were on the beach, you know, about to have sex, or whatever the case is, I don't think that causes for someone to be killed. You know, maybe you lock their asses up, but that's just my take. And their families, we were both stating how good individuals they were, and how, you know, David, he would have done anything to assist Hannah. And I think by him being taken out first, you know, that probably hurt him so bad, and then it hurt his family, because, you know, they know the type of individual that he is. He would have done anything to protect her, even though they weren't like together. Yeah, so that's pretty much David and Hannah's story, guys. It has unfolded a whole lot, you know. It just makes you think about traveling internationally, to really do your research, to really just be 10 times as cautious. I don't care if you are with people, just to be so aware of what is happening around you. You know, anything can happen, you guys, like anything. So what do you think really happened to David and Hannah? I will leave a lot of the links down below so you guys can check out the different articles that I read. I really wish there was some more stuff, but that's just pretty much the gist of it all, because I don't want to like have this video be an hour, because I can really talk. Maybe on the podcast we'll really, like, you know, really get into those details, but I feel like I gave you guys the most of it at all, you know. But, and then come to find out, Hannah's sister actually passed away this week, 5 years from the date that she died. But she died from, she had an illness, I believe, from what I read. So that's crazy and scary at the same time. So sending prayers to their families, and I hope that their families can find peace in knowing that they were together, although the circumstances were what it was. I really do. It's so sad. Like, it's just so sad, because I love to travel, but I'm also very scared to travel at the same time, because when you hear these stories, but at the end of the day, you do have to live your life. So guys, I do have a submission box down below, the link down below, that you guys can click on and let me know if any other crime stories, missing person stories, unsolved stories, solved stories you want me to discuss on here. And as I said before, this will be moving to a podcast as well. So if you don't have time to check me out on YouTube, you'll definitely have time to check me out on my podcast. So the next episode, guys, don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to leave a great message down below, and let's keep it respectful. Bye guys.